Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. But for our radio audience here in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com, we're glad that you all could be with us. Also, joining us are online affiliates around the world, including our friends at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcast. Glad you all could be with us as well. Well, as we are kicking off a new year and we're thinking about the different things we need to focus on, one thing we don't want to forget is the importance of our online security. It's one of those things we don't think a lot about, but with all of us being on our devices these days, all members of the family, it's definitely important for us to think about how we can be able to stay safe along the way and have the perfect guest to help us with that. Jaya Baloo is joining us today. She's the Chief Information Security Officer to share with you guys some information you need to know, especially when it comes to what is called your digital identity. Jaya, thank you so much for the time.
Thank you so much for having me here, Mike.
Well, look, Jaya, I think that the great thing here is that when it comes to the issue of security, right, it's something that should be, on all of our minds. What exactly is our digital identity, though?
So our digital identity can be considered, all the things we need to kind of get online and use a particular service, and that could be the email address, the username, the password, a combination of those things, or even the attributes that are around that service that we might, use online. So all of those things together compromise our digital identity, and they're very often at risk because you have, motivated attackers wanting to do identity theft, and your digital identity is therefore potentially compromisable.
Exactly. Such a great point. As I mentioned, all of us are on devices these days, Jaya, I think of all ages in the family. What are some of the common mistakes we sometimes make when it comes to setting up our new devices, though?
So I guess the most common mistake is, we might have just gotten a new device for Christmas or, as a gift, and we just want to get it online and use it as quickly as possible. So rip off the packaging and just connect it to Wi-Fi right away. And here, this is an area where I've actually urged caution. We first, before we connect it to everything, that we make sure that we've, taken a look at updates and installing those right away, made sure that we have added an additional layer of security and privacy protection software to make sure it's protected against ransomware or phishing and protecting that personal information.
And we hear a lot about companies, of course, being compromised, which should remind us all, Jaya, that all of us can have it happen to us. With that being said, I think when we come to protection, we also want to think about things we can do throughout the year. What are the best tips to protect our digital footprint, Jaya, when it comes to this year and moving forward?
Well, it's about those things that we talked about. And companies that, you're hearing about a lot of ransomware attacks. We see that over at Avast. We see a huge spate of ransomware attacks. And unfortunately, what we're seeing is attacks happen against the most vulnerable in our population. So from a company perspective, those are actually the small, medium enterprises. But we also see like the elder relatives or younger kids and families also being targeted. And this is something that we really want to see change. So for the next year, it's not just about, making sure we handle vulnerabilities by installing patches and updates, making sure that we are using some security and privacy protection software, and that's what we do here at Avast, but also making sure that if you use any other platform or service, that you actually upgrade your ability to log into your accounts, whether that's Facebook or Instagram or whatever. Make sure that you're changing from passwords to passphrases. There's platforms are already thinking about your digital security, so they already have things that you can turn on, like multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentication. And if you just turn it on, it'll allow you to more strongly verify to that platform that you are indeed you. And these are simple things that we can already do, to do this. And a separate, unique set of password and username per different service you use is a really good idea, too.
Jaya, such great tips, and I love those two-step authorizations and authentication steps you guys can be able to take when it comes to different sites that you're on. I love the fact that is something that is set up for us. Again, a lot of times we're just thinking about speed, as you said, Jaya, to be able just to get started as soon as possible. We don't think about the things that can happen. So it's great we're having conversations like this to think about that. Again, everyone, Jaya Baloo has been our guest, Avast Chief Information Security Officer, sharing with you guys some great tips on how you guys can be secure online on your devices. Jaya, where can our audience go for more information?
Well, I'd really like you guys to check out Avast One. You can find it on avast.com. What we do is give you really good award-winning software to protect you online, but for free, because that helps us make everyone safer in a sort of digital herd immunity. So check out Avast.com. It explains what the threats are and also what you can do about it.
All right, Jaya. Thank you so much again for the time and the information. Really appreciate it. And looking forward to having you back on the program again.
Thanks, Iris.
You're more than welcome. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live, part of our News You Can Use segment here at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Now let's go make today amazing. Take care.